You're listening to the Never Heard of It podcast,
a Night Shift Radio original. Every week we bring you the good,
the bad,
the weird,
and lesser known streaming movies.
Hit subscribe for new episodes every Thursday and Sunday.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! So this is, well, technically the second episode of 2023, because our first episode was Cowboys and Aliens, which just happened on Sunday.
Wasn't that awesome?
That was awesome.
I loved that movie.
What a fun adventure. And, Daniel Craig is in that movie. And, something we failed to mention during that episode is that Daniel Craig, of course, was just in Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, which just debuted on Netflix about a week or two ago.
Benoit Blanc.
That was all right around the same time. Yeah, Benoit Blanc. Great movie.
We were with my family for Christmas, and I asked my mom, like, hey, remember when we went to see Cowboys and Aliens? She said, yes. I'm like... yeah, like I had forgotten that Harrison Ford was in that. And Ellen was like, yeah, that's why Lonnie loved it. She's like, yeah.
That's great.
She loves Harrison Ford. And I just, it's a never ending source of joy for me how much she loves Harrison Ford.
I mean, I don't blame her. It's good taste. So, but yeah, so Daniel Craig was just in, Knives Out, or I should say Glass Onion. Very cool. Little movie. So, that's one of the things that, so I mentioned it in the episode upcoming, but I'm in between, we're almost about to, I'm producing a film, about to hop into that, but right now I'm kind of in between land. So I'm just kind of like waiting for things to start. So I've had a lot of time to watch TV.
Oh.
And I've been binge watching a lot of shows. So I got into this like spy thing.
Okay.
And there's two brand new shows on Netflix, and both of them are like spy, sort of series. So the first one is The Recruit, which stars Noah Centineo, right? That's
sure.
Whoever. He was in To All the Boys I've Loved Before. So Noah Centineo is in it. He's the main character. So the show is called Recruit. And then the other one that I watched is called Treason, but that one stars Charlie Cox, Daredevil.
Love Charlie Cox.
Yeah, so great series. So here's the thing about The Recruit. You're not going to watch it. I'm going to spoil it.
Okay.
Because you're not going to watch it. And my recommendation, I'm getting this out of the way, is don't watch it.
Okay.
So here's the thing about The Recruit. The Recruit is Noah Centineo is a just out of college lawyer. He ends up getting hired by the CIA. He's former military. He's a lawyer. He ends up getting hired by the CIA to do, CIA lawyery things. And he ends up, the shit task that these lawyers get right off the bat is what's called gray mail. Okay. And gray mail is when people send letters or emails or something to the CIA that says like, hey, I'm trying to blackmail you, gray mail you, and if you don't do said thing, I'm going to release this information I know. Oh. And so the job of these lawyers is to basically figure out, are they bullshit or is this a legitimate threat?
Gotcha.
So he comes across one that he figures out, like, he's like, I think this one's a legitimate threat. He does all the research and like, yeah, like this person knows things that they shouldn't know. And the person was arrested for murder. And so basically they were like, you get me off this murder charge or I'm going to blab about all this CIA shit I know. And so he gets all entangled in this and, he ends up flying all over the country and it's all spy shit. But the problem is that he's very smug and he's young. I mean, he's only like 24, like the character, but he's very smug and he keeps like fucking up, but like being successful. So it's really frustrating. He fails upward. It's like you watch this smug white boy kid just be, just fucking arrogant and still succeed. And you're like, you learn nothing and you're getting away. It's so frustrating and annoying to watch him succeed, cause like, or he does, kind of fall into bad times. Like he ends up getting tortured. He gets like his fingernail ripped out and he gets beat up a bunch of times and stuff like that. But like, he still succeeds. So it's kind of like, well, you didn't learn anything, because like the person's torturing them. And then eventually they're like, oh, you're just young and didn't know to do the right thing. I thought you were a spy, but you're really just dumb. And he's like, yeah. And they're like, oh, well, I'll just give you all this information anyways. And it's like, no, what? That's not the lesson. That's not the lesson. Yeah. So it's really terrible. I watched the whole series. The biggest problem that The Recruit had is that it had a lot of really funny workplace comedy moments of like, see, we're working at the CIA. Here's a bunch of jokes about working at the CIA and working in this office thing. And it was funny in some parts, but then it would be serious, like he would be tortured and like people would be murdered and stuff like that. And I'm like, what are you? Are you a lighthearted, oh, look at this cute boy about to do, CIA things? Or are you like a spy, like full on, espionage, CIA mystery thing? Like they couldn't figure out which one they were. So whenever something like crazy happened, you were like, where the fuck did this come from? And then they would be like, yuck, yuck, yuck. And you're like, what are we doing? I don't understand. Like it was just really weird. It just was really weird. Like it just kind of didn't know what it wanted to do. And it felt very muddled. And the plot just kept being like, he just would fall into success, and then like some other crazy thing would happen. You're like, now we're doing this? Okay. Cool. It was really weird. Conversely, I'm not going to spoil Treason because I do recommend that you watch Treason with Charlie Cox. So Charlie Cox one is an MI6 one, and the one thing I will say is that it did a really good job of making you, because like he ends up becoming the leader of MI6, but there's a lot of questions about how he got there, but it's kind of told through his point of view.
Interesting.
So because he's the main character, so you're following him around, but there are moments where you're like, wait a minute, are you the bad guy?
Oh.
Like, I think you might be the bad guy, but then he'll do something and you're like, no, but like I'm kind of on your side. Like, but are you the bad guy? Because you kind of feel like maybe you're the bad, so like it was really weird, and a crazy like episode 5, like second to last episode event happens and you're like, oh shit, like what? And when the series ends, it is a limited series. I would be surprised if they ever did a season 2. But when the series ends, you are still kind of like, I don't know, man. I think you're the bad guy. You kind of have that like conflict of like, ooh, like maybe, but not really.
Love it.
I really enjoyed that one. So that is one that I do recommend, both of which are streaming on Netflix. If you think Noah Centineo is cute and maybe you want to watch him be charming, that's the show. It is very James Bond-esque. Like he literally, like he basically admits his dying love to his roommate, who's like his ex, but they've broke up like 6 months ago, but now they're still kind of like, will they, won't they? Ooh. But he definitely fucks every other girl that he sees. So it is very confusing because you're like, oh, I want them to get together. He's having sex with a Russian spy. Okay. And it's like, oh, but look, he called her in the middle of the night and he just hooked up with one of the other agents. Okay.
He's covering all his bases.
He's just like, it's like, okay, like he's Will Rikering his way through espionage, where he's just literally sleeping with everyone.
We just talked about that last week though, right? How like Will and Deanna are in like this serious, like soulmate committed relationship, but also just like, whatever, go do your thing. So like maybe like, I mean, obviously that's not the case of what's happening here, but maybe he thinks that's what's happening.
He thinks what's happening. His ex, that he was living his roommates with was kind of like, I am still definitely madly in love with you and upset that you are with a woman right now. Yeah, it was very interesting. So those are two shows that just came out on Netflix just this the end of 2022. So those are things you could check out, I guess.
Yeah. So speaking of things that came out in 2022, we finally caught up and watched all of A League of Their Own, the Prime series. Absolutely adored every bit of it. It hurt me in all the right ways. Like one thing that I've noticed recently is that most writers, movie, books, film, like television, whatnot, most writers, they're going to try to hurt you, but they're going to stick close enough to the tropes that if you know the tropes, you know how they're going to break your heart, and it softens it a little bit. And so like I saw some of the harder moments coming. and it made them easier to bear. But like really, really excellent storytelling, telling it's like deeper perspective and less like glossing over with like big name cast like the film. I mean, the film was great. Don't get me wrong, loved it, still love it, but I love how this gets deeper into much more like authentic and human stories of these women that would have been involved in this league, while simultaneously telling the experience of Max being a young queer black girl, like struggling on all sides, and just like what a great story she gets. For a while, when they were really kind of hammering on her, like making her life bad, I was like, you better fix shit for her by the end of this, or I'm gonna be mad.
Calm down.
I'm gonna be fucking mad. But I'll tell you what, my favorite part was now, like. It wasn't the writing. The writing was fantastic. It wasn't the casting. The casting was wonderful. It wasn't the baseball. The baseball was thrilling. It was the unintended crossover with Letterkenny, which I don't know if you've watched the most recent season of Letterkenny, which
I haven't.
literally just dropped on Christmas. They dropped 6 episodes for season 11 on Christmas, and like I think more than halfway through the season, at one point, 2 of the women's hockey players, Marianne and Lucienne, are having a conversation, and Lucienne says, "Is Betty Ann still off playing ball?" And Marianne says, "Oh, she'll be back." So they acknowledge that Kelly McCormick is over filming A League of Their Own while they're trying to do another season of Letterkenny, and just absolutely fucking brilliant. Which, by the way, Kelly McCormick as Jess was one of my favorite parts of the show. She's a fucking badass. She's a great actor. I mean, it's hard to gush too much about any of the cast in this. I mean, I knew I loved Abby Jacobson as Princess Diabini, but I hadn't really seen her do too much in live action acting, and she really she carried this cast so well, as being the coach and the kind of quote unquote star player of the franchise. Loved Darcy Carden as Greta. I could sit here and name
Darcy Carden's from the good Place. There's a reason why I wanted to watch the show, because I was like, oh, she's in it.
You absolutely should. And I could sit here and name every single member of the cast and why they're amazing. That's there's no point in that. They were all fantastic. I definitely recommend that. And if you're a fan of Letterkenny, it's worth it for the crossover reference. Thought that was hilarious. We're also all caught up so far on Willow, and I got to say, they are also not making things easy on my poor heart, with 2 episodes in a row leaving Kit in the lurch.
Yeah, this is where we're going to conflict. I am just like, every episode I watch of Willow, I'm just like, this show sucks.
Oh, how dare you.
I am so upset with the show. I'm like, this is terrible.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's just every time I'm like, you're just undoing not even from the movie, like even if I just ignore the movie, it's just like every episode I feel like they're undoing the work they've done on one of the other characters. I'm like, you just undid everything you did for a whole episode. Like, it's just really weird. And for the show to be called Willow sure isn't really about Willow at all.
Well, I mean,
I get why they named it Willow, but
the film wasn't really like so much about Willow, even though like it was his quest.
Well, he's not he doesn't even do the thing in the end. He addresses it in the series. He's like, I wasn't even the one who did it in the end. It was what's her name?
That's the thing that I love so much about this show, is that it acknowledges that Willow was not the great hero that like he let himself be made out to be, and he spends the first several episodes of this movie or this series dodging the fact that he is in fact a fraud. Like, he knows some magic, but he's not this great sorcerer, even though like he's built up this reputation, and like that's finally unraveling around him. Meanwhile, like Alora is trying to figure out her inner power, and like was thinking like, I'm a fraud and like might actually have this great power. And who knows what the fuck is happening with Graydon. I kind of love that there's a budding thing between them, even though like she sets out to rescue the prince, but then she realizes like, oh, maybe not so much.
Nah, he's super dead. Graydon's super dead.
He probably isn't.
There's no way he's surviving this show. Yeah.
It'll make me sad, but
it's got to be. He's going to sacrifice himself. He has to. They've set it up.
I will say I as just absolutely fucking screamed about how rude it was when like Jade and Kit are finally about to kiss, and it's that sweet moment of like,
She gets swoop.
if I start, I may never stop, and I'm like, yes, yes, and then just yank, she gets pulled
Zoom.
away. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
But like the twist of Jade being Kale's daughter, like, love that. Like,
I didn't
not
like
see
that. I was
coming.
just like, why are we adding more? Like, they just keep adding on more things. And I'm like, you already have a really good plot. Why are you adding all these twists to every single character? Graydon has the, I killed my brother, I'm possessed by an evil demon. You know, Kit has the, I'm actually the daughter of the something. Willow has the, I'm not actually powerful. Alora Dannon's like, I actually am really powerful. What's it, Bombard? Wait, what's his name?
Borman?
But Borman is like, I secretly was Holy Grail in it the whole time, and I kind of left your dad out to hang. You know, like they just keep adding all these twists to all the characters, and I'm like, why? Why? You have a good story already. The Crone, like you have a story, but why are you adding all these weird twists?
I love that though, because it's following on really well with the spiritual legacy of the film in that like. It's this really like ragtag group of people who have no business going on this quest together and really have no chance in hell of winning it. And like we're seeing through like everyone's bullshit and seeing like it's flipping the expectations on every character. You think like, oh, this person's story is definitely this. Oh, no, it's not that at all. And that's, I think, what I'm loving the most about it.
See, that's what I find tiresome because, like, I think if one of like I'm fine with one of the characters. Like, I'm fine with Kit being the thing. I'm fine with Graydon being possessed. But the fact that every single character has that, it's like, come on, like. Just pick one and go with it. Like, it's just like another episode is that I'm just like, please stop. Please stop. Like, Willow was enough. Like, Willow not being the sorcerer is huge. That's a huge plot point that takes a very big deal from the movie, takes away, pulls the curtain back on the movie, and it gives a really good driving, conflicting thing in the thing. But the fact that they're, in the series, but the fact that they're adding everybody, all these characters that don't exist, only exist in the series, they're giving them all these things too. It's like, yeah, but we really should be talking about Willow. You've only got like one episode left, like, and you have not addressed it at all. Like, that feels really important. That's why I'm just like, come on, man. Like, you're doing too much.
I'm very excited.
And the anachronistic thing is getting me because the modern music, I'm fine with modern music and stuff. I really am. I'm totally fine with it. But because the original movie didn't have anachronistic music, the fact that it's in this series makes it feel like, hey, Gen Z, this is for you. Like, it feels so patronizing that I'm like, ugh, I really don't like it. It just feels so out of place.
That part's fair. I'll grant you that. I kind of love that, like, this is the first time in a while that we've been so at odds about something.
Yeah.
I'm kind of enjoying it.
Yeah. So it's great. It's sparking great conversation. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's really interesting. I'm still watching the series. I haven't given up. I have no way giving up on it. I still, freaking love Willow. I still, I want that world to be really good. It's just, I guess I want more Willow. Like I said, when I said from the beginning, there's too many characters. I still stand by that there are too many characters. That two of the characters should be mushed into one character. Like I feel like Kit and what's her name? The girl that she likes? Jade. I think they should be one character, and I think that it should be between her and Alora that the love interest should be. I think they should be one character. Still to this day, I just think it's too many people, and like it's making me like everybody less because I have to spread it across too many characters when I could just be like, Kit is really fucking cool. She's the daughter. She's a warrior. Oh, look, but she has this thing with Alora. Like the whole brother, like when he showed up in the last episode, I was like, who the hell is this guy? And then they said his name and I was like, oh, right. I completely forgot that you even existed. Cause like, I forgot that was the plot of the show is them going to get Eric. Oh, completely.
I kind of love that. Like, not only did they flip the script and it's the prince who gets, abducted and they have to go and rescue him. But I also love that, like, he is meaningless enough that you forget about him, and like he's the one that they're supposed to rescue, but like you forget who they're going to rescue and what quest they're on because like these other stories are to me so interesting, and I
see
love
that's
that. And
see that's where I'm like, yes, but that's the problem, is that like these other stories are so interesting that I don't give a shit about the crone or the prince. I'm like, no, they're just on an adventure because Alora's trying to find her magic. Cool. And I'm like, oh, right, impending doom and your brother's stolen. But like, we didn't talk about that for 4 episodes, but now we did. That's why I'm like, what is going on in this show?
I just
so funny.
I have so much love to go around, and I have it for all of these characters.
And I have so much annoyance to go around, and I have it for all these characters. It's fun. It's fun. I mean, it's still cool. I love the magic. I love the trolls thing. Was a kind of eye rolling, but I also found it amusing because I was like, oh, they're learned. It's funny because they're trolls, but they're speaking very proper. Yes. Yeah, but then it's very like office politics. Like it was cute, but I was like,
the only way it could have been funnier is if it was Taika Waititi and as one of them.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's exactly like it definitely felt like that's what they were going for with that thing. Yeah. Willow. So it's going. I mean, there's only like one more episode left of the season. There's only 6 episodes, and I think we've either got 1 or 2 more episodes left. So they got a lot to do.
I think it's 1. I think it's 1 left because I feel like the one that we just watched was episode 5 because we were an episode behind, and now we're all caught up. Oh, so there's going to be 8 total.
Okay, so we got 3 episodes left.
So 2 more. 1 on the 4th and 1 on the 11th, right? So the Prisoners of Skellen was episode 6.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So there's 2 more episodes left.
2 more. So there is still time to resolve some of these stories or to make them even weirder. Who knows?
And I'm only gauging this based on personal anecdotal experience, and obviously, this isn't indicative of what's actually happening. I don't think the show's doing well. And the reason why is because nobody is talking about it. I haven't seen articles about it from any of the nerd sites I follow. Like nobody is on social media. I have literally seen nobody talk about this show at all. Whereas every other Disney Plus show or nerd show rings about, like all the other shows that are happening, I see articles about them every so often. Literally since episode 1, I have not seen anybody write an article about this show. So I don't know if it's doing well or not.
I worry a little bit that like Willow was definitely a beloved fantasy property from our childhood. But I worry that maybe it was a little bit too niche to try to bring back as a show. And I'm grateful that they did it, and I am loving every second of it.
I'm so excited for it, yeah.
But it honestly wouldn't shock me if most people were like, isn't that a tree?
Yeah. You know what? One of my other complaints before the series came out is I remember them showing the cast for Willow. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Like, it's a new Willow story, before we knew what everything was about. And like, right off the bat, I was like, obviously it's about adult Elora Danan, right? Like that was the very obvious plot. And I saw the cast and I'm like, where are the little people though? Like, aren't there going to be little people in this? Yeah. So like, there's not, like there was no Nelwyn at all. And I'm like, that's kind of weird because like that was kind of one of the big things about Willow was that it was, one of the first, probably only movies, that had a little person as the main character of, arguably the main character of the movie. Yeah. And I'm like, how are you going to do a Willow series and not have anybody other than Warwick Davis in that role? Like I thought that was really weird at first. And but I was like, go with the story. We'll see what happens. But I was like, that seems weird.
I think we're going to like one of the characters hinted on they might have figured out why, and I think we'll probably learn a little bit more about why the Nelwyn went underground and why they're less prominent. But yeah, it was kind of a bummer that we only really got 1 episode where we got to see the actual Nelwyn community, and that was just like a stop on the journey so they could drag Willow out and like, you got to come with us, buddy.
Yeah, and like, then his one friend comes with him and then dies like the next episode.
That bummed
so
me
it wasn't
out
even.
Too,
I was like, come on, man. Yeah, I thought that was really weird. Going into it. I mean, I'm in it. I'm in the show now, so like I see because the plot is really Elora Danan. That's the main driving plot is Elora Danan needs, chosen one, plot point. I get it. But it was very interesting. It was very interesting.
I also liked that they brought back the brownies.
Yes. Yeah. 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 That was another one I was like, well, they have to because they were such a big part of the movie. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. But outside of Willow and all those other things, we've got a brand new episode coming up this Sunday as we count down to our 5th anniversary.
It's happening.
It's happening. So in 9 more episodes of our full review episodes, not these bonus episodes, we will hit our 5th anniversary, the 5th anniversary of starting this show. It's going to be wild. But our new episode coming up this Sunday is Project Gemini. That is a sci-fi film, kind of going with the sci-fi film theme of the month. But we are, so with that brand new episode, that movie is available on Tubi TV. So if you're the type of person that watches the movies before we review them, that is where you can watch it for free. No sign up required. Just click.
Let's do it.
It is a Russian film. So if you come across and you see a lot of Russian names, that is the movie that you need to go by. I think it's the only Project Gemini that I found in the search anyways. So
it definitely came up first. If there are others, it was pretty obvious that it was this one. It's, Russian film, like you said, it's, very obviously sci-fi. There's kind of like astronaut with tentacles in the background thing on the poster. And it was released in 2022. So all of that should point you in the right direction.
That'll get you where you need to go. The long way around. So there it is. So, hey, thanks a lot for watching. If you're on YouTube, thanks a lot for listening. If you're on your podcast player of choice, if you haven't hit subscribe on either one of those, make sure to do so. We have brand new episodes every Thursday and Sunday. Thursday are our bonus episodes where we talk about hey, what are you watching? And those are on YouTube as well. And then on Sundays is our full movie review podcast. So definitely check that out if you're new to the show. You've got 360 something episodes to go through. You got a long journey. You could probably skip like the first 50 episodes. They don't sound very great, but at least listen to the first episode.
Listen to Billy the Kid versus Dracula, if nothing else, because that, like, one, that'll let you know how we got this started, and 2, you'll learn the ultimate way to defeat a vampire.
Yeah, which, I was going to talk about the movie The Invitation, but we're running out of time. We'll talk about it next episode. So hey, there it is, everyone. Thanks a lot for watching and listening. We super appreciate it. And as always, make sure to share with 100,000 of your closest troll office workers.
And, make sure that you sneak out through the secret portal to another dimension when they're not looking.
Yeah. As you do. All right. Thanks a lot for joining us, everyone. We will see you on Sunday.
Woo!